Hey folks, Bill Armstrong here. This screencast is going to give you an overview of my math lab. This is where all the course content materials will be housed, including the e-text. Before we get started, what you see when you first log on to my math lab may look different than what you currently see in this screencast. That's because I'm the professor, and there are certain settings that professors have versus students. So you might not see some of the stuff that's over here in the left-hand frame when you log on. Don't worry about it. All right, to get started, this is what's called the course homepage. Most of the stuff you see here it's put on here by my math lab. I can't change it, and I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to focus on what's in the left-hand frame. The important things, the important tabs over here. And the first tab I'm going to look at is the Course Information tab. So let me click on that. In the Course Information tab, you're going to find some documents. These are all PDFs. And I'm going to encourage you, I'm going to strongly encourage, recommend that some of these items you print out and have a hard copy of. So you always have it in your possession. But in this Course Information tab, there's a brief online orientation, the course syllabus. The course syllabus, we'll go over that here in a minute, but that is something that you should print out and have a hard copy of. Something important included here in the syllabus. The academic calendar, we're going to go over that as well, and that's something that you also should print out and have a hard copy of. The protocol for sending email, we'll go over that, and I would suggest printing that out and having a hard copy of that as well. And then the list of homework practice exercises that it's the end of each. This is what's at the end of each section of your e-text. I would print out and have a hard copy of that as well. Answers for the homework to practice exercises, we'll go over that in a minute as well. So we're going to go over every item here in the Course Information tab. The first one I'm going to go over, not surprisingly, will be the course syllabus. So in the course syllabus, the first thing we should make note of is my email address. That's my email address. That's the email address you use to reach me. I will respond to emails in a timely fashion. Usually within 6 hours, depending upon when you send it. It may be 24 hours. I will reply to an email within 24 hours. So if you send me an email and 24 hours has gone by and I haven't replied to it, there's a very good chance you did not use the correct email address, which is a reason why to print this out, come right up here, print, to have a hard copy of this on hand for when you want to send me an email. My office is located in B3056. Those are my office hours. It's when I'm in my office. These are your hours. Stop by. You can see me. So you can stop by any time during any of my office hours. That's why I'm there. Let's see. Graphing calculator. Yeah, you should have a graphing calculator for the course. Grade. The course is going to be worth a total of 600 points, and I'm going to go through, briefly here what makes up the 600 points. First item we'll go over will be tests. You're going to have 3 tests worth 120 points each. Per the math department policy, all tests must be proctored, and usually that takes place in the testing center at Lakeland. All tests can be completed on any day the testing center is open, up to and including the deadline dates. And the deadline dates are shown on the academic calendar. We will go over the academic calendar here in a little bit. Test questions are free response. They're going to be similar to what you see in the homework to practice exercises. You see here in Table 1, I've identified the tests, what weeks, and the sections that match up to the test. So for example, Test 1 is over the material covered in weeks 1, 2, and 3, and that corresponds to sections 1.1 through 1.6 in the e-text. Some general test notes. When you show up to take a test, you need to have a photo ID. Please take your test in pencil, and don't forget your graphing calculator. There will be no notes, textbooks, formula cards, cheat sheets, etc. allowed during tests. None of that will be allowed. Deadline dates will be in the academic calendar. And also, I put the deadline dates in weekly announcements the week before any deadline for tests, so you'll be seeing it in more than one place. Here are the test center hours. In short, the test center, it looks like it's opened Monday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and it's closed on Sundays. Here are some rules about the test center. I'll let you read through those on your own. The next item that will make up your grade, those 600 points, will be the online quizzes. You're going to have weekly online quizzes. There's going to be a total of 12 quizzes worth 10 points each. So that means online quizzes are 120 points possible. Each online quiz will be due on the Sunday that it is assigned at 11:55 p.m. When you start an online quiz, that's considered to be an attempt. And once you start, or once you make an attempt at a quiz, you must complete it. So if you start an online quiz, once you start it, you have to complete it. You can't close it and come back the next day and pick up where you left off. Each online quiz can be attempted up to 2 times maximum. There will be no deadlines, by the way. There will be not deadlines. There will be no time constraints for online quizzes. You'll have unlimited time, as well as your tests that you take in the test center. So if you need an hour and a half to do a test, or an hour and a half to do an online quiz, you'll have it. If you want 3 hours, you'll have it. So it's unlimited time. The final component that makes up your grade will be the final exam worth 120 points. So as you see, Table 2 shows you that you have 3 tests at 120 points each. Quizzes are 120 points, and the final exam is 120 points. So that's how the 600 points are determined in this course. So no doing, the homework that's at the end of each section in the e-text, you're not submitting that for points. No reading assignments are done for points. No reading assessments are done for points. None of that would go towards your final grade. You will do the homework at the end of each section in the e-text to prepare you for the quizzes and to prepare you for the tests. But there are only 3 components that will determine your final grade. The tests, the quizzes, and the final exam. In Table 3, you see the grading scale I will use to determine your final grade. And how I assign course grades, I'll let you read through that. 6 bullet items on your own. A blurb about academic misconduct. Some general course tips. Again, the homework to practice exercises, they're not collected. They're not submitted. You will do those to do well on the quizzes and to do well on the tests. So I kind of believe the section-by-section homework to practice exercises would be the single vital, most important element to be successful in the course. Another general tip, keep up with the assigned sections and those homework problems. Don't let it build up. So in other words, you have a quiz that's due on Sunday. Don't wait until Saturday or Sunday to get started on all the material for the week. Keep up with it during the week. Feel free to use email as an opportunity to ask any questions. And of course, be sure to use the correct email address. Again, that is my email address. If you don't use that, I won't receive the email. I have, before sending an email, to make sure you follow the protocol for sending email. That's a document in the course information tab. We're going to go over that in a minute. Now I'll let you read the rest of the bullet items there. Learning the course material. I've been doing an online class for, many years now, and I kind of came up with this cycle of learning that matches the e-text. It's kind of a four-step cycle of learning. So the first step says, you log on to the MyMathLab site, go to the section, go to the chapter and section that you should be doing. So you read the e-text for that section. You will notice while reading the e-text there will be embedded links, there will be embedded videos or animations or guided visualizations done by the author of the book, which is pretty cool. So I would encourage you, to watch those and go through the book, go through the e-text that way. Now, for many sections, I'm going to supply a YouTube video reinforcing the concepts or ideas of that section. Links to those YouTube videos will appear in the weekly announcements, so more on that in a little bit. The second step in my four-step cycle of learning is that while you're going through a section in the e-text, after some of the examples, you're going to see these "you try it" practice problems. I encourage you to click on the "you try it" because it's going to give you problems to help reinforce the concepts just presented in the example. Usually they're kind of guided, "you try it," so they have you do it step by step. Kind of a good thing. And they're kind of matched up nicely with the assigned exercises for the end of section. Step 3, once you go through the entire section in the e-text, then you get to the end of the section, try those practice exercises that I've listed for you to do. Again, they don't count for a grade, but they will reinforce the ideas, concepts, or skills that had been presented in the section, and that will help prepare you for quizzes and tests. And then I have step 4. Well, after you've done all the sections for a week, then you should be, in theory, ready for the online quiz for that week. So go to the online quiz tab and do the quiz. And we'll go over that here in a little bit. Acknowledgement of the syllabus. Looks like there's something important here. Make sure you see that. Okay, so that's the syllabus. Make sure you come up here, print, have a hard copy on hand. I'm going to close this PDF. The next item I'm going to look at in the Course Information tab will be the academic calendar. So let me open that. Again, print this out. Have a hard copy. Come up here, click it, print it out. The academic calendar shows you week by week sections that should be covered and any deadlines for quizzes or tests. So for example, week 1, you're going to cover sections 1.1 and 1.2 in the e-text. And on Sunday, January 20th, that's your deadline to complete quiz 1. It's at 11:55 p.m. Week 2, sections 1.3 and 1.4 are covered. So you see the deadline to complete quiz 2. Week 3, covering sections 1.5 and 1.6, and the deadline to do quiz 3. Week 4, I call it test prep. So you should be getting ready for your first test. And the deadline to complete test 1 is Saturday, February 9th. You could take test 1 on Wednesday, February 6th if you wanted. You can take it on Saturday, February 9th. It's just that Saturday, February 9th is the deadline to complete test 1. So you can take it on that day, but it's the deadline. Please make note that the deadline for test 2 is Friday, March 8th. It's on a Friday because of spring break. Spring break starts on Saturday, March 9th. But again, you'll see all deadlines and week-by-week section coverage on the academic calendar. There's deadline for test 3, Saturday, April 13th. Your deadline for the final exam, Wednesday, May 8th. And also on the academic calendar, now this is a little redundant. We've seen this elsewhere, but I have a little chart here showing for each quiz what the section coverage would be. And I also have listed for each test what the section coverage would be. And that's something that you just saw in the syllabus. So that's your academic calendar. Again, print it out, have a hard copy, shows section coverage and all deadlines. So let me close that. The next thing we'll look at in the course information, we'll go ahead and look at the online orientation. This online orientation, notice the first thing that you see in is 4 items to print out and have a hard copy of. We've gone over some of those already. Up-to-date information, I'm going to have it posted weekly in the announcements area at the My Math Lab website. So every week on Sunday morning, I'm going to make an announcement for the following week, and it's going to just have reminders on what sections are covered that week, what homework problems you should be doing, reminder of any due dates. Also, when I open up a test preparation folder to help you get ready for each of the tests in the final exam. So that'll be in the weekly announcements. Also, any YouTube videos I've made on a section-by-section basis, I would have those links listed in the weekly announcements. So if you're encountering difficulties with the material, how do you get help? Well, I have the main way to get help. Start off by sending an email to me. Again, there's my email address. That's what you need to use to get a hold of me. Make sure to follow the protocol for sending email before firing off an email. We'll look at that in a minute. Another way to get help is in the Learning Center. There's a Math in Minutes table. There's no cost for this. You can just sit there, do homework. You can go in if you have just one question. It's like a drop-in service, which is pretty neat. Another way you could get help is at the Learning Center. You could sign up for a tutor, and you could have a weekly tutor appointment. Let's see, I have some general notes here again about taking the test. I'll let you read through this. We've gone over most of this already. Online quizzes, we've gone over this. Just to highlight, each quiz will have a maximum of 2 attempts. And once you begin an online quiz, you must complete it. That would be, once you start it, that begins an attempt. So that's your online orientation. Let me close that. Let's look at this protocol for sending email. Okay, notice the first thing I've listed is make sure you have the correct email address. There it is again. Sorry to be continually going over this, but you have to use the correct email address in order for me to get the email. And number 2 here, use your Lakeland email account. Please try to use your Lakeland email account. In fact, when you're in college, or a university, you should be in the habit of checking your college email at least once a day. That's how professors will communicate to you. It's via email. I kind of need you, to use your Lakeland email account, or I'd really like you to, because of the sheer number of students I have. I mean, I have at least 120 students, and if you use a personal email account, and it pops up in my my inbox, and let's say your personal email account is sleekdime5@gmail.com. I might not recognize that as being one of my students. I mean, it could end up in a spam folder, but I wouldn't recognize it as one of my students. I would be more likely to recognize, when it's coming from a Lakeland email address. So please try to use your Lakeland email account. In the subject bar, so when you can put a subject for your email, it would, be very helpful to me if you just simply put, Math 1700 online. That way I know, hey, I'm getting an email from one of my online students. And then start off the email just by briefly introducing yourself or identifying yourself with, hey, my name's June Johnson. I'm a student in your Math 1700 online course, and then you can continue on. That just helps me tremendously. Number 5, allow time for a reply. I will respond to email each day. Um, so you will get a response within 24 hours. You know, if you send a message late at night or on weekend, you might not get an immediate response, but it should be within 24 hours. So if you send me an email and 2 hours go by and I haven't replied to it, it does not help to send me another email with the same message. So sending multiple repeated messages doesn't help. You know, I haven't seen the first one yet. As soon as I see an email from you, I will reply. Use complete words and sentences. Yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. You know, do your best to state your question clearly and completely. I know sometimes it gets a little difficult, maybe trying to communicate mathematically via email, but we will work it out. Between the two of us, we will work it out. And so that's pretty much it on the protocol for sending email. So I'll close that. Hey, the next thing to look at is the list of homework to practice exercises. This, come up here, icon, click it, print out, have a hard copy. It shows you section by section basis the homework problems you should be doing. So for example, section 1.1, starting on e-text screen 1.1-25. So starting on that screen, I think you need to do 1 through 35 odd. Or over here, section 3.3, which starts on e-text screen 3.3-33. These are all the exercises I think you need to do. So print this out, have a hard copy of it, so you always know what problems you should be doing in each section. And then the final item here, or final document, the final PDF, would be the answers to the homework problems. Now, this is the one document that I said, nah, maybe you don't need to print out and have a hard copy of this. And the reason being, this is 36 pages. By all means, you could print it out and have a hard copy if you want. But if I were a student, what I would do is when I'm doing the homework, I would open this PDF. It would open in a new tab. So when I'm doing the homework, I could always click over to see how my answers, if my answers are correct. So when I'm doing the homework in section 1.1, so I'd be in the e-text, I'd be doing the homework in 1.1. I could always, click over here to see if I got number 1 correct, or if I got number 3 correct. I mean, these are the answers. But if you want to copy this, if you want to print this out, I'm not going to stop you. So that's everything important in the course information page. So please print out and have a hard copy of the homework to practice exercises, protocol for sending email, the academic calendar, and the course syllabus. Again, something important there. Okay, the next thing we'll look at over here on the left-hand frame, well, let's look at the announcements. So this is where I'll put the weekly announcements. I have these, ready to go. You're not seeing them yet, but I just have to populate it with the material. But I do have the week 1 announcements ready to go. So, let's check out the week 1 announcements. So week 1 announcements. Well, week 1 announcement starts off with a brief welcome, reminding you of some items in the course information tab. Some items that you should print out and have a hard copy of, reminding you of something else that's really important. Again, it's in bold. And here's where the week 1 announcements begin. You see how I define the week to go from Monday to Sunday. So I'm reminding you of the sections to go over in the e-text, and the problems, the homework problems to practice for each section in the e-text, what e-text screen those homework problems start on, and also I remind you of the deadline. I remind you that quiz 1 has a deadline of Sunday, January 20th. So that's what a weekly announcement looks like. I think I have the week 5 done because I wanted to show you something different. So let me just click on this real quick for the week 5 announcements. Yeah, I do. Week 5, I start to give you some of my, the videos I make to supplement, if you will, section by section basis. So for section 2.1, I do have a video for the graphs of sine and cosine. I think it's best to right-click on the link and open in a new tab. So let me just show you one of those real quick. Right-click, open in a new tab. And
hey folks, Bill Armstrong here.
Always make sure that the video is in HD. If it's not in HD, you got to change the settings yourself. So you'd click on that, and then make sure it's in HD. You can see mine is in HD. It already says HD. And I also say sometimes you might want to look at the videos in full screen mode.
Thought I'd put together a video for the beginnings of the next material where we're going to start looking at the graphs of the trigonometric.
So let me close that. I just wanted to show you how it would look when I do have videos for a section. The links will appear in the weekly announcements. So okay, let me go back to the main menu. So we've looked at weekly announcements, looked at the course information. I'm going to save that for last. Here's where you will find your online quizzes. So when you're ready to take a quiz, you click on Online Quiz tab, and here they are. They're ready to go. In fact, I have all 12 of them ready. And then there's also the deadlines listed. So when you're ready to do quiz 1, you click on quiz 1, and then you're going to be doing the quiz. When you're doing quizzes, please make sure you follow the directions exactly and carefully. So when you're entering answers, they give very clear directions on how the answer should be entered. So if it says, enter your answer as a fraction completely simplified, and you put the answer of 2/4, it will be marked wrong, because that's not completely simplified. The fraction 2/4 completely simplified would be 1/2. So sometimes you think you have a correct answer, but you didn't follow the directions exactly. Let's see. Next up is what I want to look at. Oh, the grade book. So here's your grade book. You will always know where you stand in this class by going to the grade books. Whenever you take a quiz, you can click on the grade book, and it will show you what your percentage is in the quiz or for the course. Whenever you take a test, once I have the test graded, I will enter your score on the test into the grade book. So you can always come in here, and it will always tell you, where your standing is in the class. So let's see. Next thing I want to look at over here. Well, I have test 1 preparation tab ready for you. So for each test and the final exam, you'll see stuff like this. You'll see a study guide, a practice test, and then a link to a YouTube video I made working through and showing solutions to the practice test. So let me show you what a study guide would look at. I have some reminders up here. But then I'm saying, hey, in section 1.1, for those exercises that begin on 1.1-25, you should really know how to do those exercises. So that's what a study guide would look like. A practice test should give you a really good idea of what to expect on the actual test. And I think that brings us to the e-text. So let's now look at your e-text. So I clicked on Read e-text. I'll click on that to view the e-text. And sometimes it takes a little time for it to open. And what I thought we'd do is, I'll show you over here's your table of contents. So let me open up Chapter 1. I'll go into Section 1.1. And right now I'm in section 1.1, page 1. So that's denoted up here as 1.1-1. So, let me just kind of, this is how I would go change the pages or like turn the pages. So this is like like reading a math book. I mean, here it is. So, you would read through this, take any notes you think is necessary. I go to the next page. There's some more stuff important. It looks like talking about positive measure, negative measure of angles. So, you just go through, you're reading, maybe taking notes. Got some vocabulary terms there. Looks like some important stuff. And we finally get to an example. Drawing angles given in degree measures. So, 3 parts. You can see what the answers are. But here for this one, it says, there's a video icon here. So you see what the answers are, but you can click on this video icon to watch how to do the example. So it's like showing you a worked out example. So let me go ahead and click on that.
In this video, we're going to draw angles given in degree measure. Draw each angle in standard position and state the quadrant in which the terminal side of the angle lies, or the axis on which the terminal side of the angle lies. Let's go ahead and start by trying to sketch the angle 60 degrees. So to draw our angles, let's start by drawing the initial side of the angle.
Okay, I'm going to pause that. That dude, he's the author of the ebook. So this is what I was talking about earlier, that there are embedded videos in the e-text. And then at the end of this example, here's some of those you try it's I was telling you about. So let's click on that. So we just watched the video, and say for all of them, and so now we can try one. It says draw the angle in standard position, state the quadrant in which the terminal side of the angle lies, or the axis on which the terminal side of the angle lies, negative 255 degrees. And it's like, oh boy, the terminal side of that angle lies in which quadrant or on which axis? Well, it's a little pull down menu. So let's see. I'm going to say, quadrant 2. And let me check my answer. It's like, all right, Bill, you did a great job. Okay. Oh, now which one of these looks like it would be negative 225 degrees? Okay, I think it's D. I think it's D. But what happens if I say A? I check answer. It's like, oh, no, that's not correct. And it gives you an explanation. Like, hey, maybe you're not thinking of this correctly. Here's how you should be thinking of it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Now I'm pretty sure it's D. And it's like, hey, you did a good job, Bill. And I click OK. And it's like, do I want to do a similar question? But so the you try it following examples are similar to the example. So you will see these after many examples throughout the e-text. Kind of a neat feature. Next up, I wanted to go to, later on here in this section, I'm just going to jump ahead. It's on page 13, so 1.1-13. So let me just kind of type that in, hit enter. This icon tells you you have an animation. So let me click on that just to show you the difference.
A circle centered at the origin with a radius of length r units has the equation x squared plus y squared equals r squared. An angle whose vertex is at the center of a circle is called a central angle. Every central angle intercepts a portion of the circle. This intercepted portion of the circle is called an intercepted arc. We typically use the
All right, I just wanted to show you, what's called, an animation. So you'll see those icons periodically, throughout. Let's see. Yeah, there's another animation. Then if let me just kind of click through here quickly. So I had, So your homework started on e-text screen 1.1-25. Here's where they begin with the exercises. It's not these SCE things, it's with the exercises. And I think I said 1 through 35 odd. So you start doing the homework there. Okay, there was one more thing I wanted to show you, and it's in section 1.6, and it's specifically on e-text. It's on 1.6-23. And it's this icon, this G/V. It's a guided visualization. In fact, it says here, click on the guided visualization below to choose an arc length. So I just wanted to show you what that was like. It usually has a lot of stuff. You could control a lot of things. It says, move one variable slider at a time. So, for right now, this might not mean much because you're not at this point, in the book, but you can get an idea of how to do a guided visualization. So this is telling you that the arc length, the t, is pi over 6. So this is pi over 6, and the sine of pi over 6 is that y coordinate of that point on the unit circle, 1/2. And the cosine is the x coordinate, square root 3 over 2. And it tells you the value of all 6 trig functions. Then it's like, well, what if it were, that, 2 pi over 6, which reduces to pi over 3. 2 pi over 6 reduces to pi over 3, or that, or that. So that, the guided visualization, you could kind of control things on your own, kind of play around and help you learn some stuff. So that's it. That's your e-text. I'm going to close that. So, back here again, the course homepage. So here, most of this stuff I have no control over, so I don't really pay attention to this stuff. These things, you don't have to, don't worry about reading assessments. What you do worry about, what you should check out, announcements. Every Sunday morning, you have an announcement. So Sunday, January 20th, I will open the Week 2 weekly announcements. So make sure you know where to find the weekly announcements. The course information tab. The course syllabus, academic calendar, protocol for sending email, and list of homework to practice exercises. Those are the 4 documents that you should print out and have a hard copy of. The course syllabus has a lot of rules and policies for the course, as well as something else. The academic calendar is going to show you weekly section coverage and deadlines for quizzes and tests. Homework, the list of homework to practice exercises. Well, those are the homework problems you should be practicing in the e-text so you can be successful in the course. There's where you find the e-text. Click to open your e-text. Online quizzes. This is what you click. This is where you come in to take your online quizzes. Gradebook. You will always know what your grade is in the class by just clicking on the gradebook. And the test preparation tabs. Those are important for tests. There's something here called Tools for Success. I left that open for you. If you need help on how to enter answers, you need a graphing calculator reference card. It's like, well, I'll leave that open for you. Guided notebook. I'm not going to say much about this. You could look at it if you want. If you think it would be helpful, it's there. That's all I'm going to say about the guided notebook. And, that's pretty much it, folks. So now I've given you the overview of my math lab, where everything is located, and you have everything available for you now to be successful in the course. So, welcome to the course. Good luck. Have a good semester, and any questions, don't hesitate to send me an email. Thanks for watching.